the B-Rad deck. Yo, what's going on guys, Ian77 here. In today's video we're going to be using Minor Poison Quick Cycle. So, this is probably one of the best Minor Poison decks in Clash Royale of all time. There are newer versions of this deck, but I feel like this deck is actually still not too bad right now, like, especially with the Broken Queen. It actually kind of fits in this deck pretty well, so, gonna test it out here and see how B-Rad's deck is right now in 2022. Alright, so looks like in the first match we're going to be up against RG, so just going to go with the High Queen here. He might go with a Lightning on it soon, but kind of just want to use it so we don't have to waste our Inferno Tower and can save it if he cycles back to another RG here in a second, so yeah. And it's really nice to have Queen in this deck, because normally like the one thing that you kind of lack with this deck is a good offense, but once you have Queen in this deck, you have like a way better offense compared to normal, so you can do a lot better against those heavier decks that you can't really punish normally. Alright, so this guy's going to be running RG Queen here, but we're going to defend pretty nicely here in the first push. The nice thing is that we do have good spell bait between our Inferno Tower and Archer Queen, so whichever one he decides to use the spell on, he can't really use the spell on the other one, so yeah. Okay, we are actually going to use the Queen ability a bit late there. I wasn't expecting him to have Fireball. I was kind of thinking he would have Lightning there, but I guess Fireball should be even better for us because you can't really break through our Inferno Tower having Fireball, so yeah. And it won't be even too good against the Queen when I use it on defense. It'll only be able to counter it on offense, so should be pretty good here. Minor Poison's always pretty good at getting chip damage. It's just like it's just that it's not really too good at like punishing beatdown decks. That's why I kind of like having the Queen in here quite a lot. And I know B-Rad does love the Queen as well, so just doing B-Rad one better here with this deck. Alright, so I feel like Queen should always get pretty good value on offense. He can only really like Dark Prince or Fireball it, and even if he goes in with like the Dark Prince on it, he's still gonna have to spend other stuff here because of how broken the Queen is. It's kind of crazy to think about how OP the Queen was before it got the few nerfs that it has already received, because it's still like basically one of the best, if not the best card in the game right now, even after all those nerfs. Alright, so here we're looking really good. We can just cycle a Queen in the back, don't really have to worry about giving him spell value or anything. Gonna actually Minor on defense there. I was kind of expecting him to go with like a Fisherman in the middle. For some reason he does decide to go with it on the side though, but Queen gonna pretty much wreck his RG, so pretty easy defense here. Just gonna cycle a Minor as well, just make sure we're keeping up a little bit of aggression at least, so we can get some chip damage. And he's gonna go with the RG at the bridge, but I don't think that'll ever really work out for him. Inferno Tower always gonna counter it so easily, even if he goes in with the Firewall. It's not gonna be nearly enough here. And yeah, mine are always chipping away really nicely. And yeah, I'm just gonna poison here because we went with like the aggressive Fireball on our Inferno Tower, not really getting any value, so that's why I'm not really too scared to go in with that. And by the way, guys, it is always better to go with the Valkyrie high like that against the Queen rather than using it low down. I do sometimes see people going with like low Valkyries against Queens, but it's almost always better to go with the high Valkyries, just so that you force them to use their ability right away rather than holding off on it kind of and getting more value out of it. And luckily the Inferno Tower is actually going to target the RG instead of the Dark Prince, but looks like RG is going to get a shot off. I kind of wasn't expecting the Inferno Tower to be getting hit by the Dark Prince, but I think we should be fine here. Yeah, Poison just so good, honestly. I feel like Poison's a lot better than Fireball on this deck. It just really allows you to get that easy minor chip damage and kill all the distractions and swarms. We're pretty much making quick work of this guy. Just need like one more Poison here, and that's probably going to be game. Yeah, really easy first game here. Alright, hopping in the next game here, we're going to be up against this guy. Alright, so just gonna cycle the Ice Spirit at the bridge first play. Just gonna wait and see what he does, and I'll just go with a Miner now here. Always a pretty safe play to go in with Miner first play with this deck. You just have like such a quick cycle that you can like pretty much defend most of the units that they might drop on it, so there's no reason not to. Okay, so this guy's gonna have Baby Dragon, Poison, and Bar Barrel, so I'm probably already pretty sure what this deck is gonna be. I think it should be Graveyard here. Nothing else really runs that exact combination of cards, so it's gonna be an interesting matchup. And I'm actually gonna switch lanes here, going with the Miner in the left lane. I did actually misplace the Miner by a tile, so he could actually NATO it to King Tower, but I guess he was a bit too late since he already used the Valkyrie. And we do have to kind of switch lanes here a lot, I think, because he's just going to go with, like, the tombstones behind the King Tower, so we can't really, like, get any minor damage if we always go same lane as him. And we're still going to force him to spend something on our Queen. Looks like he is going to go with the Bar Barrel here, and the tombstone's actually kind of not working in his favor here. Going to allow our Valkyrie to kind of get a lot of shots on his Queen while it was invisible, so pretty easy defense here. We can defend his graveyards pretty easily with our poisons and stuff. We do have to be a bit careful here to make sure we get a lot of minor chip, because we kind of need like a early good start, otherwise it's going to be a little bit more tricky later on when he can kind of just use the poisons on offense and we can't. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Queen almost benefits this deck in almost every single matchup, because it's also going to allow us to get quite a lot of value defending his baby dragons especially and all that stuff. And honestly guys, if you don't have Archer Queen, I'd probably still use Musketeer in this deck. I don't really think E-Wiz works too well with Miner anymore, at least not like these quick cycle Miner poison decks. I'd probably just use Musk. Alright, so we did waste poison here, so we're gonna have to defend without it, but I think we should be fine. Valkyrie plus Queen gonna do a super good job defending here, and he does go with the early poison, so our Queen is gonna survive with almost full HP. We might poison some of his tombstones if he goes in with them again, because we do have the Archer Queen. Alright, so he's going to activate King Tower there. I'm not too worried though, to be honest, because at some point he would have had to... I mean, we would have had to let him activate it anyways, unless we wanted to, like, keep having him predict our miners with, like, a Valkyrie every time. Alright, so we have a really good lead here right now. Almost up by, like, 1,000 damage, so now I'm just going to play a little bit safer here, going with the poisons on defense almost every time. We do have to be a bit careful though, because you can get some lucky graveyard RNG and still get a few shots off, even when we go with like the poison on defense. We do have to be a little bit careful here, but luckily our miner did get a lot of value on offense there, and Ice Spirit gonna jump on his tower as well, so just slowly chipping him out here. And I feel like Queen really helps here with getting that chip damage, because we kind of force him to focus on multiple things at once. And I was going to poison his tombstone, but I don't really want to anymore since he's going to go with the high Queen. I kind of want to focus on defense here, just in case. Alright, so with that miner there, we're going to force him to use the early Queen ability, so it's going to be pretty good for us here. And he can't really go in at this point, I don't think. Yeah, our stuff is going to defend really nicely there. But yeah, we can't really go in with the miner right away either, though, just because of his tombstone. Yeah, so if you guys are playing Tombstone, honestly that placement that he's using here is actually really good to do against Miner decks. It really, I don't know, kind of blocks up the lane. That Tombstone placement is also really good against Goblin Barrels, I'm pretty sure, so good to know for any of you Tombstone players. Alright, so we just need like a couple Miner hits and a poison at this point, and yeah, that's going to be GG here. Really easy win against Graveyard. Alright, hopping in the next game here, we're gonna have Miner in hand, so probably just gonna go with Miner Ice Spirit first play, but he is going with the Spear Goblin, so I'm just gonna defend with Queen here. I think the best starting play with this deck is probably gonna be going with Ice Spirit Miner first play. The Ice Spirit will just tank for the Miner for a little bit, and then the Miner will be chipping away at the tower, so it works out really well usually. We're going to get one Queen shot off, and I'm not really worried to go with the Miner not in the safe spot, because I know he didn't have Tornado, so gonna do just fine for us here. And he is probably going to be running some type of Mortar deck here, not really sure what else would have this combination of cards. He does have Goblin Gang as well, so probably going to be like mortar bait with Miner or something like that. And it is also really nice to have the Archer Queen in the deck against all the mortar decks going around, because it just does a really good job at sniping the high mortars and kind of provides a pretty good counter push as well. Whereas Ewiz just kind of gets wrecked. And it's also nice to have the Queen, because even if they try to like block it with like a cannon cart or something, the Queen will still get a lot of value if you use the ability on it. And he's gonna Fireball there. I was a bit slow on the ability once again. Could have made him spend a couple more elixir if I was a bit faster, but yeah. And I know he tried to predict the Inferno Tower with like a cannon cart, so that was really good by us to not buy into it. Honestly, it's always better to go with like a Ice Spirit or Skeletons in the middle to distract before you go in with like an Inferno Tower or some building. And honestly, it's not really too good to go with your Inferno Towers against Mortar. I feel like it's never really good to use Inferno Towers on defense against Mortar decks, unless you have like no other choice. It's always better to go with like a Queen or like anything else you have, or like your distraction cards or something like that. Alright. So the really nice thing here is that he does have Goblin Gang instead of like guards or something, so Poison's gonna get a ton of value in this matchup. Gonna pretty much kill everything. We'll always kill the cannon cart in combination with the log, and gonna kill the bats really easily as well. And he's gonna go with a mortar on offense there, but pretty much just gonna give us a free queen, like a 1 elixir queen basically, so not really the best mortar by him in my opinion. And if he tries to go same lane like us with his mortars, he's not really gonna be able to do anything either, because it's always gonna like kind of give us a free poison value there, so yeah. And I don't really want to be going with minor poisons right away here unless he gives me like pretty good value. I could have went with it there on the Spear Goblins, but I'm just trying to play it a little bit safe, just in case, because you never know with the cannon cart getting those lucky locks sometimes. Alright, so I'm just going to go with the Queen ability. You're going to poison here though, because he did spend the pretty aggressive Fireball on our Queen, and looks like the Queen is actually going to shoot at his tower, and that's actually going to be GG here. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're going to have a bit more of an awkward starting hand here. Just going to log right now. I know some of you guys were saying that's like a bit dangerous for you guys to cycle logs first play in case they go with like a Goblin Barrel or something, but honestly I'm not really too worried about that, because even if they go with a Goblin Barrel, you can still fully counter with just a Valkyrie or like a Skeletons plus Queen. You can pretty much counter Goblin Barrels pretty easily every time, so not the end of the world usually, and most of the time you're not going to be facing log bait, so it's usually a pretty fine play to go with your log first play, just to chip down their tower little by little. Alright, so it looks like this guy here is actually going to be using Hog, the deck that I normally run on my channel, so honestly when I'm playing Hog I never really face this miner deck, so I'm not really sure of any special tricks to beat Hog EQ with this deck, but once again I feel like Queen will help a lot in this matchup over like Ewiz or something, because Queen just gonna like allow us to have a bit better of a offense, a bit better of a time on offense, and also honestly Queen's pretty good against Hog EQ, because you can always just like cycle the Queen the same lane that the Hog player is going, so they can't really like push into the Queen, and you can always like Queen plus log or Queen plus Ice Spirit log to fully counter the Hog and get good counter push, so pretty good against it. And EQ doesn't really do too much against the Queen, so yeah. Alright, so we applied some really good split lane pressure there early on, so we're already going to be in a pretty good spot here. Yeah, it was really smart by us with that, and we just kind of need to maintain this pace now. Just kind of need to cycle the Queens in the back in the left lane, and we should be in a pretty good spot here. I already went with the pre-Skeletons there, because I was kind of sure that he'd go with the Hog there to tank, so I'm going to counter that pretty easily. And we may have to use our Inferno Tower sometimes against his Hog Riders, but I'm just gonna kind of try to avoid using the Inferno Tower as much as possible, because it's never really a good trade to go with Inferno Tower against a Hog Rider unless you have to. And the really nice thing about Poison is that Poison plus Log will always kill the Archer Queen, so they can't really like play it in the same lane that you're going, because it will always kind of wreck them. And by the way, guys, whenever they play like a high building, like a bomb tower against your queen, it's always better to just go with your ability. That way, instead of saving like a 1 HP queen with an ability up, still you'll just have like a full HP queen without an ability, but it's still a lot more better on offense than a 1 HP queen would with the ability up. Alright, so honestly, like, a lot of the matchups are actually better to go same lane now with this minor poison deck if you're going to be running queen in it, because it's always, you can always just kind of like block up the lane with your queen and then just get like poisons off on their support units and all that. And I'm not actually going to use the queen ability here because the Ice Spirit kind of blocked the bomb tower pretty well, and the log's going to finish it off as well, so this might be game here in a little bit. Just need like a few minor shots, and looks like queen's going to finish it right there. Alright, hopping in the final match here, we're going to be facing this guy. Looks like he's going to go with the Goblin Barrel E-Spirit first, so I'm just going to activate King Tower here. Always pretty good to activate it against log bait, as I always say. And by the way, guys, one side thing I'm going to say is that I'm probably going to have the memberships up today, at the time of this upload. It's either going to be up today or tomorrow, but you guys should just check either way and then over the next couple days, because I'm pretty sure the memberships will go up pretty soon, and you guys can probably get my friend link through them, or like a few other nice perks, so probably going to be worth it to check it out if you have like a couple extra dollars you want to spend on something. It would really help out the channel as well, so I'd really appreciate if any of you guys decide to get it. Alright, so here we're just going to fully counter his Goblin Barrel with a Valkyrie. Always really nice to do that. You get like you do get a -1 elixir trade, but you have like a full Valkyrie counter pushing, so always a really good idea. Okay, so he's going to go with the Valkyrie here to counter our Valkyrie, but I'm just going to pre-log here in a second to counter his guards, hopefully, and yeah, we do catch them. And he did also waste his E-Spirit earlier, so he doesn't have like really anything to counter that queen. We're going to take almost his whole tower just like that, so yeah, that's why you love to use queen in this deck. If you do use Musketeer in this deck, though, it also does provide pretty solid defense, but it doesn't have like the same offensive value, so I feel like queen is quite a bit better here. And even though Musketeer allows you to like cycle multiple of them on the field at once, it's not really worth it in this deck, because when you use the Inferno tower as your main building, you don't really need need to cycle multiple Musketeers, because you can just get like one Inferno tower to take down like their whole golem push or something like that, so not really too much of a point most of the time. I'm just going to go with a miner here, and I'm going to poison as well, because you do go with the aggressive rocket, and the queen being down there will also allow us to get back to another miner even quicker than normal, so already back to it, and he doesn't have the guards in cycle, so yeah. And he is actually doing a really good job of catching the miners, it seems like, but we're still looking pretty good here. We're still in a pretty good spot. Just need like a few more miners, a few more poisons, and we're gonna just slowly chip down his tower. And honestly, guys, this deck's actually really strong. I haven't even lost once so far. I've played a couple of GCs with it, and I actually went like I think I'm like 23-0 with this deck right now, so actually pretty insane. I wasn't really expecting it to be too good. But yeah, you guys know the B-Rad deck is OP, so what did you expect? Alright, so he's gonna give us a poison value there, so I'm just gonna go with the poison there, hitting the left tower as well. He's gonna predict our miner once again. Honestly, I don't play miner too much, so I might not be the best with the miner placement mind games, but still getting chipped little by little here, so just gonna poison here. We just need like one more poison, maybe a bit of minor chip damage, and that should be GG here in a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be game. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!